We are finally on the home stretch. The Overwatch 2 beta period has been and gone, and we are now mere months away from getting our hands on the hero shooter sequel for real. Overwatch 2 has seen its fair share of criticism across the beta period, most of which has been more than fair. That said, the more time we spend with the game, the more positive we find ourselves feeling about what the future of Overwatch 2 holds. But there's always room for improvement, right? So what does Overwatch 2 need to make sure it has the best chance to hit the ground running come October and be the sequel that Overwatch needs and deserves? First up, I am once again asking for support heroes to get some support. Overwatch's most underserved role has continued to be neglected for the most part throughout both Overwatch 2 betas. It's not like the devs are against big changes. They've proven they're not afraid to introduce some slightly left field adjustments to support characters. Zenyatta got a nuke strapped to his sandal with a superpowered kick. Mercy's super jump is now a key part of her kit and is way easier to pull off and be consistent with, and they even tried something new with Moira, misguided though it was. The problem is, these changes were always reactive, not proactive. And after 2 full beta cycles, it still feels like the devs don't quite know what to do with this small group of healer heroes to make them feel good to play in a 5v5 format. 5v5 has tapped into and enhanced the key FPS components that originally attracted people to Overwatch in the first place. There are so many ways to play and win. So many ways to drag your team back into situations when all seemed lost. In Overwatch 2, the individual plays can matter just as much as the team, but that means that each hero has to be able to compete and stand on their own when times are toughest, and supports just don't feel good, and haven't in any of the beta tests so far. They need dynamic ability kits that let them do something other than just stand to the side and heal. Oh yeah, support heroes need to actually be able to do more than keep you alive now. Moira's Enfeebling Orb that replaced her long-standing Damage Biotic Orb was a bit of a flop. Dealing less damage in favour of weakening enemies' damage output was a change that actually made sense on paper. It gave the Vampiric Scientist more utility in the field, and if anything made her too powerful. But it was devilishly hard to hit with, and was a major pain to deal with if you were hit by it. All in all, the design of the ability just wasn't quite what the support hero needed, and it's been thankfully canned. Obviously, when Overwatch 2 officially launches in October, there'll be a brand new Fox-based support hero hitting the roster, and that will undoubtedly shake up the role and the meta, depending on what their kit actually looks like. Finally adding to the consistently neglected number of support heroes is a step in the right direction, but until devs manage to get the balance of support heroes right and actually make them feel fun to play and a viable role to compete in, that support queue is always going to be the shortest, as players gravitate to the tanks and DPS like they've always done. But enough about heroes. We can talk about tweaks to supports and actually trying to make Roadhog a viable lone tank until the end of time. Plenty of Overwatch's roster needs balancing ahead of the full release, but we already know there's going to be some serious tweaks and changes introduced as Overwatch 2 finds its footing in October. So let's focus on some actual features Overwatch 2 needs to cash in on all the good feeling around the game right now. It's been said before, but Overwatch's tutorial left a lot to be desired. One run around the practice range with Soldier 76 does not a tutorial make, and with more new players than ever jumping into the hero shooter for the very first time, Overwatch 2 is going to need to give newbies a bit more of a lesson on the basics of the game and how each hero works if it's going to cut it on the free-to-play FPS shooter seat. It wouldn't have to be anything too in-depth. I'm not suggesting we start running newcomers through Overwatch League team compositions and crosshair placement drills or anything like that, but some brief role-specific, or better yet, hero-specific run-throughs of abilities and situational utility wouldn't go amiss, like how best to position as Reinhardt, or optimise your damage output as Reaper, or working on timing your heals as Mercy, even how one hero's ultimate combos with other heroes. Obviously, that's going to require quite a bit of work, but even just a more robust version of the practice range we have now would make a massive difference to novices picking up the game for the first time. It only has to be enough that newbies aren't jumping into games with little to no understanding of the hero they've chosen, or even the role they're playing. It's good for the newcomers, since they'll understand the basics, actually have a chance of winning their first few games, and are less likely to be shouted at by the more toxic among the Overwatch community. And it's great for veterans who can jump into the game knowing that all their teammates have at least a vague understanding of what they're supposed to do. Now, while we're on the subject of toxic players, one thing Overwatch 2 will desperately need if it's gonna make it in the big leagues is a proper, robust anti-cheat system in place right from day one. Going free to play doesn't just mean a fancy battle pass and seasonal content, that means more players than ever before, and that includes those looking to ruin everyone's fun by cheating to get ahead. Pretty much every free to play game, big or small, from Warzone to Apex Legends and beyond, are facing a constant battle with hackers. Wall hacks, aimbot, invincibility cheats, you name it. Hackers will do everything they can to make sure they ruin the game for everyone but themselves if it means climbing the ranks faster. Obviously, Activision is already trying to get ahead of this by using phone numbers linked to accounts to try and keep cheaters at bay. But burner phone numbers are a thing, and plenty of hackers will believe they can easily bypass this first line of defense. So a solid anti-cheat detection is an absolute must if Overwatch 2 is going to thrive. Truth is, cheaters are already a problem in Overwatch 2. Hacks have been spotted being brazenly used in matches already during the beta period, and we don't even have a dedicated competitive ranked mode yet. So clearly the hacks are already there, ready and waiting to be used to devastating effect once Overwatch 2 officially launches later this year. It's not all doom and gloom. Hopefully Activision Blizzard have been hard at work on ensuring they have everything they need to keep the cheaters at bay. But free-to-play games have suffered in the past when they've let the hackers run rampant. Overwatch 2 has to make sure it doesn't fall into the same trap. Aside from these admittedly fairly big asks, there's plenty more we'd like to see head to Overwatch 2 eventually. A map editor would be an incredible addition. The Overwatch community are a creative bunch, so just imagine what they could do with that kind of level design power at their fingertips. But maybe that's a little too ambitious to ask for on launch. We'll stick it on our Christmas list. And a little more communication on when we can expect things wouldn't go amiss either, but at least we only have to wait until October, by which time all this endless talking can cease and we can actually get to what matters: playing Overwatch 2. It's been a long time coming, but interest in Overwatch is absolutely sky high, especially after the stagnation of the last few years. The switch to 5v5 is winning over players new and old every day, and going free to play means Overwatch 2 has the ability to go nuclear if it's done right. What features do you think are absolutely essential for Overwatch 2 to be a success? Thanks for watching. I've been Elliot for GGRecon. Don't forget to drop this vid a like if you're hyped for everything Overwatch 2 will bring. If you enjoyed this video, click that subscribe button for more Overwatch content like this, and I'll see you in the support role queue.